Good evening, everyone. Welcome to closing comments here on February 2nd. Let's jump right into our charts and see what happened in the markets today. First up, we got our April live cattle on the board. We did see this cattle market jump out to a nice start this week. Prices opening higher, hitting the ground running off that opening range and never really looking back. We did see price rally up into the high of the day there during the first hour of trade. Then throughout the remainder of the day, we did see this thing kind of bounce out in about a $1.50s range here and finish the day right there around 239.45. Briefly poking above those prior week highs and getting a good momentum here. Strong push here in the right direction. Bulls are set up nice here for the rest of the week. We should see them carry some of this momentum over into tomorrow's session and keep this live cattle market driving higher. Should be pretty smooth sailing up here through the 240s. Bulls are going to have this overhead gap being target one, so look for this market to start drifting up here towards 247.5. Try and close that overhead gap and head up there to some new all-time highs. Big picture uptrend still remains intact. Everything's looking up here for this cattle market. Look for the bulls to keep on pushing as long as they can defend these key levels here at 235.60 and that 50-day moving average down to 231.25. Should be pretty smooth sailing to the upside here in this live cattle market. Look for that to continue here throughout the rest of the week. Next up, feeder market also opening higher today. Prices rallying up into new weekly highs. Prices briefly poking above last week's high. Starting this week off on the right foot here as well. Prices driving up here during off that opening range, making a nice second leg push up here midday up into about 368.5 before settling back around 366 at the close of the day, but a nice strong push in the right direction. Nice strong uptrend. This feeder market still showing some good relative strength. We do expect to see this live cattle market or feeder market to continue drifting higher as well. We are just within spitting distance of that overhead gap, so look for the rest of the week for the bulls to be targeting that, trying to be chewing through this overhead gap. From there, it should be just pretty smooth sailing on up into new all-time highs here for this feeder market. Look for the upside to continue here throughout the rest of the week. Next up, March corn futures with a nice flush lower here early today. Prices opening up during the overnight session right around our bear pivot and driving lower here. Prices briefly poking down here below 4.25 at the moment, looking like we're seeing good resistance continuing to hold up here on our major moving averages. Late last week, we did see a nice little selling pressure starting to step in as price was dancing around that 20-day and those prior range lows. Good selling pressure here so far to start out the week. We should see the bears continue to push this market lower. Look for the downside to continue down here towards this price swing low right around 417. From there, it should be pretty smooth sailing down into new contract lows. So look for this corn market to keep on drifting lower. Next up, crude oil prices breaking down here today. We did see last week having a really strong rally up into about 66.5, stepping up into this next level of range here. At the moment, we did see a pretty steep sell-off here to start off the week. Prices breaking down, running all the way down to about 61.5 near the lows of the day. We are coming down here and trying to test these moving averages from above. We'll have to wait and see how serious the bulls are now that we're trading back below this 200-day moving average. If we're able to find some support here at this 20 or 50-day averages as it's rising up in this area, we could see a little bit of bounce around. Be able to see prices bounce around a little bit here on these averages. They need to reclaim that 62.36 and get back above that 200-day moving average to continue with this uptrend. In the meantime, we just could see some choppy action here around the 60s while this market gets comfortable in this low to mid 60s area. Look for this market just to swing level to level. At the moment, we've got 66.5 down to 62, and from there it's back down to 59. So at the moment, we should see this thing just kind of bounce level to level here. If we do reclaim 62.36, should be a little bit of an uptrend starting to shape up here in this crude oil market. See this thing start to drift back up here towards 66.5. And next up, equity markets showing a nice recovery here today. Late last week, we did see a little bit of weakness, especially in the NASDAQ, finishing back down there near the 50-day average. The Dow and the S&P were a little bit stronger, putting in some inside days, but some good recovery here so far. Last night, we did have a nasty breakdown off the Sunday night futures open, pushing down there, briefly undercutting the 50-day average and our bear pivot for the week. But we did have a really strong rally here into the morning and a good gap and go. Good opening range longs here this morning. Prices breaking out up off that opening range and never really looking back, driving back above 7,000 here on the S&P. At the moment, we are once again only about 20 points off those all-time highs, so we should see this thing continue to drift higher up into there. Still a pretty mixed bag in these large caps. Expect to see this market be kind of choppy here. We still do have some upside momentum but we aren't expecting any major power trends here until we can get some better momentum from this tech sector. But as long as we can keep getting a push up here above 26,000, we should see more participation from the semiconductors and tech sectors. Look for that to give this market a push. If all three of our indexes are able to keep on rallying above today's high and carry this momentum into tomorrow's session, should set us up for a nice little trend week. Look for the upside to continue here in the stock market. Thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.